Everton. But then again, you expect to with West Ham to go, especially Goodison Park, and lose, but also to a team who needs a win, whose manager's under the cosh. Who do you want to play? You probably want to play West Ham. Honestly, it feels like that sometimes. And it was just frustrating in the sense that we went to a team who was zero confidence. A few of our players gone away international break. Yarmolenko did all right. I know Rice didn't so. But it's one of those games for us which means a lot to us in the sense of where we feel this team is going, because you've got to do well against the teams around you, and we're not doing that at this minute in time. 1 point from Palace, Bournemouth, and them's not good enough.
No, it's very true. Well, a lot. Me and you and James have made a lot on this show about obviously losing Fabianski, what a player and how important he is to the West Ham side. Obviously, Roberto's in goal now. Was he at fault for the first goal? Was that unfair? Was that harsh?
I thought he made a class save with his head from Diop's attempted own goal. No,
he did.
I think he just looked like a sub-keeper, to be honest. I think he did actually all right at Everton, to be honest. At fault, probably, but I just think he looks robotic and slow. He just doesn't look anywhere near athletic enough for me. One of the Sunday League keepers I used to play with moves faster than him, I think. So.
Well, someone who will know a little bit more about players coming in and out of the side, and how West Ham are actually doing this season, we will be joined by John Moncur next.
Giving your team the coverage they deserve. Love Sport Radio. Listen to Love Sport Radio on your smartphone today. Simply download the free Love Sport app from the App Store or Google Play. Tap the play button and you'll be able to listen to your favourite station. Anytime, anywhere. Love Sport Radio, the station giving fans a voice.
You alright, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah? Really? It's just, there's a massive grizzly bear sitting on you. You sure you're okay?
Well, now that you mention it.
Sometimes we say we're fine when we're not. But with 1 in 4 experiencing a mental health problem, if your mate says he's fine, he might not be. Be in your mate's corner and ask twice. Time to change.
You're in leakage, you're in leakage. You're in leakage, you're in leakage. You're in leakage. You're in leakage, you're in leakage.
Tenna men. Pants and pads.
You're
discreet. Masculine.
You're
secure absorption zone. Buy online or in shops.
You're
Tenna men. Keep control.
Urine?
No.
Are you paying way too much for your energy bills? A spokesman said could help you save big money. With electricity costs continuing to rise, you could save hundreds of pounds by shopping around. Just go to aspokesmansaid.com and look for the very best value energy deals on the market. Don't waste your hard-earned cash. You could be on a much cheaper deal. Go to aspokesmansaid.com.
Fighting for you, saving you money.
If you see somebody showing any of the signs of a stroke, you don't have to think about it, you just dial 999. Use the FAST test. F. Face. Has their face fallen on one side? Can they smile? A. Arms. Can they raise both arms and keep them there? S. Speech. Is their speech slurred? T. Time. Time to call 999 if you see any one of these signs. Act fast, make the call, dial 999.
This is Love Sport.
You are listening to the West Ham Fan Show on Love Sport Radio with me, Charlie Hawkins. I'm joined in the studio with We Are West Ham, Will Pugh and Tom Edwards. We're talking everything about West Ham. We had to cover the defeat on the weekend, but we can put it in the rearview mirror now. We can look towards the game on the season. It is Sheffield United. But I'm delighted to say we are also joined by West Ham legend John Moncur, has gave us a little bit of time. John, thank you for joining us tonight. It's a real pleasure to have you on and talk to you once more. John, what went wrong on the weekend for the Hammers?
I don't know. I think everything, if you looked at the game in general, like they were just, for me, they were too good. I think that our away form's been really good, but it didn't work out, to be fair, at the weekend.
John, just a quick one. On that, when you must have had games like that before where you're on the pitch and you know you're surrounded by good players, you know you're a good player and you know you've got performances in you, especially just weeks after they've beaten Man United. Is there at Goodison Park? It's been swilling around all week about we never win at Everton, blah blah blah. I know we won last year, but it's a bit of a bogey ground. Did you ever have that when you go to grounds and you're thinking as a player, you're going out on the pitch going, I know we're good, they're lower than us in the league, but Jesus, we never win here?
I think you do get that. I mean, I look back at, be honest, I never won a lot at Everton. I think I only won there once. in 10 years. But individually, you'll get gut grounds. I mean, I always had a mare at Middlesbrough for some reason.
Right,
I've always
yeah.
done well at Aston Villa. It's weird, but collectively, it shouldn't be the fact, because if you look at sort of years over the years, all the personnel changes.
Yeah.
So to not win at Everton, it's a weird one. You know what I mean? But I think that it is quite a tough ground to go and sort of dominate Everton. It's quite tight. It's a bit like Upton Park used to be. So I don't know. We just didn't turn up for me.
John, how much does that play on players' minds then? Because you just mentioned now, we never really got a result at Everton, Villa, Middlesbrough. Before, when you get the fixture list and you look at these games, how much of a mental effect does that have on players? Because you go there, you're on the coach and you go, we never get a result here, the ref never helps us, we just can't seem to get it done. Is that a big factor going into the games?
It shouldn't be, and as I say, you probably have a little bit of fault individually. Like one, as I said there, I had grounds where I thought I've got to play well here because I ain't played well here for a couple of years. But it shouldn't happen as a group. You know what I mean? I just think that the games come in. You look at us. We needed to, after the United game, we need to go and beat Palace at home, and we're third. You know what I mean? Look, you think of West Ham. What a start that is. We go and we beat them. We're third. Everything's rosy, we're flying, and we lose to Palace, then we, all of a sudden, we're on a little bit of a slide, and that game come at the wrong time. I think it was one of them games that they really need a result, Everton. I mean, if they don't win, I think the manager's on his way. That's and they haven't been great at home. So it just had that little bit of the timing, and it was a little bit, for us, it come at the wrong time.
Hi, John. Do you think about Declan Rice's performance in the weekend? Do you think it was a backlash from international duty? I'm not saying he was terrible, but the last 20 minutes in particular at fatigue. Have you seen it before where players come back from international duty and they come back and they're actually in a lot worse form than when they left? Do you think that might have affected him, or do you think he might actually move back to centre half in the future?
Nah, listen, he's been brilliant in there. I wouldn't think about moving him at all. He's probably England's best holding midfield. I just think that the boy's still young. We forget and he's played a lot of games. So, at West Ham, he's played every minute more or less. He goes away. It's a lot of football at a high level, So everyone's going to have a little spell, especially in the season where, you're not firing, your confidence dips a little bit. So I just think maybe I wouldn't rest him because he's too pivotal for us. But I think hopefully he'll have a sort of a rethink and have a little break if he can. Maybe have a few days off training. I know it. Just recharge, because he's been outstanding. He just he looked a bit fatigued, and he, as I say, he's had a lot of football this year.
John, I totally agree with you on Declan. I think the worrying thing for me is Felipe Anderson. I think Lanzini had a poor game again at the weekend. He's looked really off colour all season. I don't know if that's the new long-term deal that's perhaps sort of, he's riding on that wave a bit and thinking, I'm sorted for 5 years. But the Anderson one, I always felt, even when he signed, it felt like it was very much going to be, he's going to come here, he's going to be mustered for 3 or 4 seasons and then get his big move somewhere else. But he seems to have been stagnating. He seems to really be quite streaky. And last season he had that little spell in the middle when he was absolutely brilliant. I think he got 7 out of his 9 goals last season within 2 months or something. What do you make of him?
No, I think I agree with you, definitely. I think when you've got them type of players, the two you've mentioned now, they are flair players. And the real top, if you're talking, we're going into brackets of world-class players. If you start, you look at Lionel Messi, and you look at players like Hazard and Ronaldo.
Noble.
Nobolino. They basically they're producing week in, week out the top, of their. You're talking flair players. They're producing every week, scoring goals, creating goals. It's a very hard job to do, and only the top can do that. When you're a flair player, attacking player like they are, it's very tough. So we need them players because that's what wins us games. But I think for them, especially Anderson, I think he's got to find a little bit more consistency and look at those top players, because on his day he is like that. He's unplayable. He's got everything. He's got pace. He sees things. He's got a great touch. He can go either way, and he's got a good end product. So if he's got to think, look, if I really want to be, one of the best players in the world, I've got to do what I do more consistently, and that's what players like. We need them Lanzinis and them flair players that we've got to produce a lot more consistently.
I mean, obviously, John, I'm assuming no matter how much money you're on, or no matter how good people have touted you to be before, it's obviously, unfortunately, not just as easy as that, because you assume Lanzini, Anderson, they obviously seem to like playing for the club. You feel like if they could just switch it on like that, they would. Did you ever play with anyone who you felt was going to be something really, really special at the club, and then just for whatever reason it might be, just never really, just ended up kind of flittering out, which I'm getting a little bit worried Anderson might be doing?
Not really. I think, the real top players that I've played with, the Canios and Joey Cole when he come in, they always produced. And they didn't, you couldn't say they undersold themselves. Joey got a move, and Di Canio was a legend, But I'm talking about these players. We never had that many of them. I mean, after I left, Tevez was the next one.
Yeah, sure.
You're talking world-class players. So I didn't play with that many. The only world-class players I played with, really, at West Ham was obviously, you put Frank Lampard, Rio, the boys that come through, Joey Cole, Di Canio. But I think the way that we've been over the last couple of years, these players are top players. If you look at them, they could go and play in any team if they can keep their standards up to the highest level. Anderson, as you said last year, you looked at him, he could play in any team, but he just dips, doesn't he? He's one of them. He'll had 2 or 3 games where you think, where's he gone?
I feel like that's. I don't know if you agree, John. I feel like that's the difference between a lot of, like, you see Aguero and David Silva doing it. That they do things that that Anderson's done before. I feel like the only difference between playing for a West Ham or a Leicester or a Wolves or a Man City or a Liverpool is that Mo Salah and Sadio Mane and Aguero and Silva can just turn up and they do it 4 weeks out of 5 rather than 1 out of 3 or 4. I always felt like that about Yossi Benayoun. I thought he was one of the best players I'd ever seen at West Ham. Yeah. But he'd do it once, and then for 4 games he'd go missing.
Yeah, no, you've hit the nail on the head, definitely. And is that a factor of they're in better teams? If you look at it, they're in the teams. You look at Frank when he played for West Ham. He was a great player. But no one would have thought he'd go and play as consistently well as he did when he went to Chelsea. And they're winning, they're winning every week. So there is that, you can turn around and say, well, look, perhaps as a unit, we ain't at that level yet of the Chelseas and the Liverpools and the Man Cities. So these players can probably have a dip in form, yet still win 3-0. And, and then they'll have their great spell. And at West Ham, we've got to have them all firing.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get that level where we're actually beating teams regular. And if they all turn up, we can beat anyone. But as you see there, especially the last couple of games, if they dip, then we're gonna struggle.
John, under Pellegrini, we've had a bit of an issue. We've been very good in patches and we've played unbelievably against the top sides. We had a bit of an issue home and away against the sides who are around us, the type of sides we're trying to take points off to finish in that 6th to 9th region. And what do you put that down to? Do you think that we open up too much against them sides, or do you come in with it slightly less up for the game, or what do you put that down to? Because that's the most frustrating thing when you lose the sides around you and they're nicking points off you for the rest of the season.
Listen, it can be, if you look at West Ham over 20 years, it's the same old thing. They say, like I had it when I played. We go and beat Man United and we lose against Leicester at home. It's always seemed to happen. And what it is, if you look at it, it's a small line. It's a thin line, but with the squad we've got there now, I think we need to just hit that level of consistency to get us in that. I would call it the second league we're in. We could finish 7th, 8th. I reckon.
100%.
Tottenham are struggling, right? United. it's an opportunity for us. We might even sneak into Europe if we could find that consistency.
That's why it's so
Because
frustrating, I think.
It is definitely. And I know it's look. I think the manager's brilliant,
Same.
right? But I do think that him at the top there, he's got to find a way of getting the best out of those players that he signed on a more consistent level. That's my opinion.
Yeah, you're certainly right, John, and it all starts this weekend with Sheffield United. John, thank you for joining us once again. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show and giving us a little bit of your time. We really appreciate you. West Ham legend there, John Moncur. We're going to be talking about that. Thank you, John. We're going to be talking about that Sheffield United game. But first, as always, next it is the West Ham quiz.
This is Love Sport.
Join me, Ewan Thomas and the Posh Boys here on Love Sport Drive this Friday as we count down to the Rugby World Cup semi-finals. All the build-up to England versus New Zealand and a massive weekend of football, all on Love Sport.
Love Sport.
You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah? Really? It's just there's a massive grizzly bear sitting on you. You sure you're okay?
Well, now that you mention it.
Sometimes we say we're fine when we're not. But with 1 in 4 experiencing a mental health problem, if your mate says he's fine, he might not be. Be in your mate's corner and ask twice. Time to change.
It's cancer, they said. My first thought, let's just say it wasn't money. But time off work for treatment and trips to the hospital. Paying the mortgage. And. The cost of living doesn't go away just because you're living with cancer. And Macmillan can help with that too. My advice? Take their advice. Soon as. I did.
Macmillan, right there with you. Call now or search Macmillan Money Worries.
Don't get caught out in the great energy price hike as large firms look to charge you more. If you want to save money on your energy bills, it's not too late to see what's on the market. With rising gas and electricity bills, don't get caught out wasting your money on expensive tariffs. A Spokesman Said will show you the very best value deals available. Check out aspokesmansaid.com and you could be using your savings to put towards a well-earned holiday.
With aspokesmansaid.com. Fighting for you, saving you money.
Whoa! Look how much saturated fat is in these chocolate biscuits. It's surprising how much is in our food and drinks. For us kids, eating too much saturated fat can lead to harmful fat building up inside, which we can't see, increasing the risk of heart disease or stroke when we get older. So be food smart. Download the free Change for Life food scanner app and start making healthier choices today.
Love Sport Breakfast with Richard Lee and Patrick Christys.
This is my analogy I like to give for those who play blackjack. And again, we don't recommend you play blackjack on this show, and if you do gamble responsibly. But if you play blackjack, of course, you roll the dice, you get your cards. It's a game of 21. Basically, you don't roll your dice. Sorry, you get the cards. Take rolls of the dice. I'm mixing up two games. You get your cards. Anyway, it's a game.
You put the magic beans under the cup and you just whiz it around. You know, we all know.
We know the game.
You flick the switch, the metal ball rolls down, it traps the mouse.
And then you see if you bluff the other person. But no,
and if the mechanical donkey bucks off all the items that you put on it, then you've lost blackjack.
And that is
triple word score.
And that is Hungry Hippos.
Weekdays from 6 a.m. Love Sport.
You're listening to the West Ham Fan Show on Love Sport Radio with me, Charlie Hawkins, and I'm joined in the studio with We Are West Ham, Will Pugh and Tom Edwards. And we've come to that time of the week, that time of the show, and I own up, I admit to it, it is my favourite part of the show because it is the West Ham Mystery Players Quiz. In the real game, in the real stakes, Will Pugh versus James Jones. It is a tie. No James Jones tonight. So into the chair, Tom Edwards. It is a friendly, but you two, your friends, it's not friendly, is it? There's no pre-season here. There's no international break, is there, Will?
It is. I'll be honest though, Tom. It is one of those fixtures. It's quite hard to get up for. You know, when I've got such a bitter rivalry going on with Jonesy at the moment.
But when you're on such a run, you need a bit of competition, Will.
Well, that's I know what you're thinking, Charlie. Is that I almost don't need the practice. And James, obviously, last week. Can we just apologise now? John Monco's just been on the show.
Yeah.
Let's apologise to John because James Jones,
the West Ham legend,
the so-called West Ham fan, James Jones.
West Ham world, we are West Ham. Oh,
on last week's quiz, as you'll have all heard, that James Jones lost to Danny, who's standing in for me, And B, he didn't get John Moncur after 5 clues.
Well,
the man is an
yeah,
absolute shambles. Not John Moncur, of course, James Jones.
I've never seen a man set himself up for defeat more than that. Have you?
It's going to be
it is a
interesting,
friendly
Tom.
for me.
It's a lot of pride at stake. Maybe not points, but pride at stake. As always, thank you to Reese for the quiz because, as always, it is absolute stelling. Let's go for it. It is player number 1, clue number 1 in the West Ham quiz. Clue number 1, signed from Lazio in 2008 for 5...
Barami, Valon Barami.
That is correct.
God,
I must
blimey.
admit, just as I was reading that first clue, I thought this is quite you know,
Easy?
on the
Easy?
first clue.
God,
But Reese,
goodness me.
normally sterling work from Reese. Player number 2, Tom Edwards, 1-0 to Will Pugh.
1-0 to Tom Edwards.
That's what I said.
Oh,
Tom Edwards,
sorry,
1-0
yeah.
beating Will Pugh. Sorry. Did you hear that? I nearly gave it away then.
No, go on.
I'm not concentrating at all. Will, you threw me. Player number 2, clue number 1. Born in the United States of America.
Jonathan Spector.
That is incorrect. Clue number 2. Played 399 games for the club.
Scott Minto?
No. Clue number 3. Captain for 3 years from 1994 to 1997.
Steve Potts?
That is correct.
See you later.
That means that he's one. See you
Born
later.
in the USA. Born in the USA.
It is
Like
1-1. So we go on to the final player, almost a tiebreaker of sorts. Player number 3, clue number 1. Fingers on the buzzers. You need this, Tom. Clue number 1. Began their career at Carrick Rangers.
Christian
Carrick.
Daly.
No.
Michael Carrick.
No.
What? Carrick
Michael
Rangers,
Carrick
Michael
from
Carrick.
Carrick Rangers.
Why not, mate?
Shambles.
What? Tom, you've
That
lost your
found
head.
it That's
You
poor,
folded.
isn't it?
No,
He's
you
embarrassed
folded.
himself
Yeah, you
there,
have.
isn't he? Yeah.
This is almost a James Jones Moncur situation. This is terrible. Can we get an opponent for Will Pugh, please? Clue number 2. Become the first player to change clubs for free on the Bosman ruling.
Not Malky Mackay, is it?
No.
No.
It's not Michael Carrick, is it?
Ah.
No. Clue number 3. Scored the goal that stopped Man United winning the league in 1995.
Kitson.
Oh,
I don't know.
It's
Clue number 4.
Don Hutchinson? No. All right.
Clue number 4, and I'll tell you why. Northern Ireland International.
Steve.
No, it's not Steve Lomas.
Tom's head's gone. This is all for you,
I
Will.
have.
Go on.
Clue number 5. Shirt number 17 and 24.
2 spells at the club.
So all the clues, all the clues.
Not in Dowie.
It's not in Dowie, no.
24.
I'm going to quickly run it through because it
Yeah,
is
go on.
1-1. Clue number 1. Began their career at Carrick Rangers. Clue number 2. Became the first player to change clubs for free on the Bosman ruling. Clue number 3. Scored the goal that stopped Man United winning the league in 1995. Clue number 4. Northern Ireland International. Clue number 5. Shirt number 17 and 24. Do you know the answer? Very quickly. It's Ask the Audience time. Tweet us at Love Sport Radio or call us 0208 70 20 558 or quickly get your WhatsApps in on the same number because Tom and Will, We Are West Ham, are struggling. It is 1-1.
I mean,
will it be time for
2 years before I was born, so I've got to have a little bit of slack.
All right, okay.
No, I think Carrick Rangers. I'm thinking Scottish. Bosman. That's going to be the one. The Bosman thing's.
As soon as I heard Carrick Rangers, I thought Michael
I don't know
Carrick.
what you're
Got
about.
to be.
It's Michael Carrick's dad.
But Northern Ireland International. Go
All
on.
right, shall I give you a clue?
Yeah.
Will be known from me how I knew this player. Had a big stint with Wimbledon in the Premier League from 97 to 2002. This is their clubs. Started with Carrick Rangers, went to Manchester City, went to Strasbourg in France, went on loan to West Ham, then made it permanent. Obviously made it permanent at West Ham. Then went to Wimbledon, where they was at for 5 years. Went to Birmingham on loan, Crystal Palace, Coventry, ended at St Neots Town.
St Neots Town. It's in Cambridge. I even know where that is, but I don't know this bloke. No.
They are currently 48 years old. Teams managed Carrick Rangers 2011 to 2013.
Get rid of them.
Can we have some confirmation that Carrick Rangers is in Scotland? Because that's sticking in my head.
Okay, hold up.
I reckon it's in Northern Ireland if he's from there.
Wow.
It's Northern Ireland. It's a Northern Irish team.
No, it's
People are
Shall I
position.
He's an attacking midfielder. I almost remember him as I could get this wrong. A winger of sorts, like right-handed side, I believe, but attacking midfielder.
Sorry, this is really bad. I'm never normally stumped as much as this, but
In July 1996, this player moved to West Ham permanent. In the process, he became the first British player to change clubs for free on a Bosman ruling. The following season, Joe Kinnear took this player to Wimbledon in a £1.6 million deal. We've had a WhatsApp in. They can't be talking about us because they've said Alan Shearer, so no.
Oh, I thought it was him.
I think might have to go initials. But I feel like I'm not even going to get on initials, which I'm scared.
MH.
Michael Hughes.
Yeah.
Ah, that is
Come
poor.
on,
I'm very
Michael
sorry.
Hughes. Will wins tonight. It is 2-1 in the West Ham
No one
mystery
wins
player
tonight.
quiz. I thought Michael Hughes were good when we was going on.
That
I was
is a
quite
good
pleased
one.
with him.
That was an
good
embarrassment. I should have known Michael
Yeah.
Hughes as well.
What happened to you two?
got-
It's
you
the
see it there
international
for
breaks.
us.
You're not getting yourself
That's
motivated
exactly
for
what
these
it
problems.
is. Yeah,
I'm
no,
not too disappointed about Michael Hughes me missing. I think that was.
I think you should be more worried about it was Carrick.
Yeah, that's the issue. That's the issue.
Carrick Rangers, it must be Michael Carrick.
Not sleeping tonight after that, honestly.
A worry indeed. Look, we're going to talk about the game next with Sheffield United, and we're going to have a very special guest, Callum Cheswick, a reporter for Varvel, to tell us all about the game. But before we get into it, let's hear your two thoughts on it, because Will, as you've dubbed it, Tevez Gate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't wait. To be honest, it was. I
can't wait for Tevez Gate.
It was one of those games at the beginning of the season. I know it's such an age-old football cliche about whenever the fixtures come out, this is the one I look out for. And yeah, mine's always been Tottenham, probably always will be. But this season, it was really up there. First time we played them in the Prem since Tevez Gate, like I said, and it's hard to. I don't know. I find among West Ham fans there's quite a split on how fans feel about them. Some don't really care at all, but to try and maintain a little bit of decorum or whatever, I can't stand Sheffield United.
Really? Is it that strongly? Because
I don't. I absolutely hate them as well. They nearly put us out of business at one point with what they're doing about Tevez. And yeah, no, not a fan of them at all.
So is there you say massive rivalry, or
I don't care about what they do, but
is it?
Well,
So what rivalry?
I do.
Yeah. So you really hate them. Well, what is it? There's a massive rivalry for you then?
Yeah, I just think when a football club goes out there, look, the Tevez and Mascherano thing.
Where are they on the ranking? Them, you feel? Sorry, I'm so excited about this, but if you look at teams that West Ham do have a rivalry, where is it up there for you? How close is it?
To be honest, I'm trying to sort of imagine a season where if we had Spurs, Millwall,
Chelsea.
Sheffield United. I don't particularly
For
hate
me,
Chelsea,
I think
but
Chelsea, Tottenham, Millwall, then them.
No, see, that's different from my point of view this season. If we had Chelsea, Tottenham, Sheffield United, Millwall, Manchester United, and they're sort of, and Liverpool perhaps, they're sort of my top sort of 4 or 5, if you like. And honestly, this season, I cannot wait to play Sheffield United on Saturday.
I can't wait. Depending on the result, we could get a
until they
Will
won
Pugh
last
Morton run last
Yeah.
week.
But no, honestly, no. I think the whole Tevez thing really sticks with me now. And Neil Warnock's still got to be in his bonnet about it. Let's not be.
I think he was still in charge. The rivalry would be slightly more.
No, it would, of course. But let's not get this wrong. Let's remember that Neil Warnock was a huge part of that, and this isn't just West Ham fans holding on to it. Neil Warnock's still got a huge bee in his bonnet about it. You listen to anything he says about West Ham on the radio, and you can tell he's still upset about it. They come after us to sue us, and what people remember, and you'll forgive me for not having the stats exactly, but they were home and dry with about 11 games to play, and I think they won one game out of their last 11. Got relegated, including a home defeat to Wigan on the last game of the season.
Only
David
needed a point.
Unsworth, West Ham legend, banged the penalty in for Wigan Athletic and went down. And somehow it's West Ham's fault. Mascherano didn't do anything for the club. He was absolutely useless, so it didn't really matter that we'd signed him anyway. Tevez, yeah, of course, he was fantastic. But he was one of 11 other players. And if Sheffield United had just conducted themselves like a proper football club at the end of that season, it would have been someone else who'd gone down, probably us.
I mean, also, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Tevez. Thought he was brilliant, brought some magic football. Everyone forgets the bloke scored 7 goals. The bloke scored 7 goals in the Premier League, and that is not enough for 50 minutes or whatever it was. It didn't make that much of a difference. I really dislike him, mainly because of that era. To be honest, I've not taken much interest in him. I look forward to this fixture. I'm very up for it, and it's exciting games we have in the league. But I think at the end of the day, they're a team we should be rolling over. We should have at the start of the season. But sad thing is, after what I was saying, is after the way they played against Arsenal, I was like, they're pretty much the last team we'd want to play in terms of defensively. They're going to stick up 10 men behind the ball, and that's it.
Well, to be fair to them, it's not just the way they played last night. They have been very good this season. They've conceded the least amount of goals up there with Liverpool. It's 25 clean sheets since the start of last season, which is the most out of the 4 tiers in the English football. They are on an incredible run. Chris Wilder doing a fantastic job there. But all of a sudden, I'm very excited to get Callum Cheswick on to talk us about Sheffield United, because this next section just got a lot more passionate.
Giving your team a voice. Love Sport Radio. Premier League, Championship and fan shows. 7 days a week. We've got your team covered. Love Sport.
You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah? Really? It's just, there's a massive grizzly bear sitting on you. You sure you're okay?
Well, now that you mention it.
Sometimes we say we're fine when we're not. But with 1 in 4 experiencing a mental health problem, if your mate says he's fine, he might not be. Be in your mate's corner and ask twice. Time to change.
It's cancer, they said. My first thought, let's just say it wasn't money, but time off work for treatment and trips to the hospital, paying the rent, and the cost of living doesn't go away just because you're living with cancer, and Macmillan can help with that too. My advice? Take their advice. Soon as. I did.
Macmillan, right there with you. Call now or search Macmillan Money Worries.
Don't get caught out by rising energy bills this year. Leading price comparison site A Spokesman Said can help you save money in just minutes. Plus, sign up to A Spokesman Said to get the latest super cheap collective energy deals. These offers are such great value, they aren't even available direct from the energy companies. Savvy customers have saved over £10 million from collective energy deals. Go to aspokesmansaid.com and you could be saving big money on your bills.
With aspokesmansaid.com. Fighting for you, saving you money.
There are many things a mother can pass on to her baby. Her smile, her eye colour, and her immunity to whooping cough. Whooping cough is a very dangerous illness for young babies, and at the moment it's spreading fast. A simple vaccination during your pregnancy can help to protect your baby in their first weeks. Please speak to your GP, nurse, or healthcare professional and pass on your immunity.
This is Love Sport.
You are listening to the West Ham Fan Show on Love Sport Radio with me, Charlie Hawkins. I'm joined in the studio with We Are West Ham, Will Pugh and Tom Edwards. Well, it was just getting heated before we went away, talking about that Sheffield United game. West Ham fans, there is some kind of rivalry. It's certainly been brewing. They are looking forward to this one. They definitely want to get the victory, regardless of the last result. Someone who may know more about the Sheffield United perspective, well, Callum Cheswick has joined us now, reporter for Varvel. Callum, the West Ham fans, not the fondest of Sheffield United. Is that safe to say it's the same over there too?
I think over the years, like since everything just kicked off between the two clubs with the Tevez affair and everything, I think as time's gone on, I think we've just kind of let it run. And the League Cup game a couple of years ago, I think that went some way into just kind of burying the hatchet for us. I don't think we're that bothered about it anymore. I mean, it still hurts, and in another season in different circumstances we wouldn't have gone down. But I mean, as you guys were speaking about before, and we didn't approach the back end of that season well enough, and the form we were in, we probably did deserve to go down. But it still hurt the way it happened.
Yeah, Callum, we don't like to talk about the League Cup game too much, to be honest.
Which game's that?
Yeah, but no, on a purely footballing sense, to be honest, like I was saying, at the beginning of the season, I was really looking forward to the game, and it was one of the first ones I looked out for because I think certainly from a personal point of view, like I was saying, it's kind of split between West Ham fans as to whether they care or not. And it seems like it's quite a Marmite thing. They either really care and really hate Sheffield United or couldn't really care less. From a purely footballing sense, though, I'm a little bit nervous about the weekend. Not even so much over our form. I think, the weekend was hopefully a blip and we've still got good performances in us, which we know. But Sheffield United have surprised me a lot. They look not only just like an organised team, they look good going forward as well. Chris Wilder seems a lot more tactically astute than his gruff Yorkshire personality would suggest. And I would imagine that people at Bramall Lane are feeling quite confident at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if we're just going off my opinion, I'm really looking forward to the game on Saturday. I think we will approach it similarly to the way we approached the Arsenal game, looking to get him round the back with Mousse and allow our overlapping centre halves as the Yorkshire grit somehow innovated. But yeah, I mean, United especially have surprised me on the road, unbeaten so far in 4 games, and I think that will help. I think the first goal is going to be vital in this one at the weekend, because West Ham have struggled when they've gone in front. I don't think they've held on to a lead. Well, 3 times I think they've given up leads, whereas if United get that first goal, in all their 3 wins this season, they've kept clean sheets. So again, it's going to be vital that.
You just mentioned there, Callum, that you said you think you approach it similarly to Arsenal, but do you really believe that when you're above us now and you're actually on a bit of momentum and you're playing some good stuff? I know I just said that you stick 10 men behind the ball, which isn't true. They do break out, but do you think there's any chance that you might open up a bit and you've grown in confidence, especially after a result like that, which will probably suit us? But I'm hoping you do. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We don't want to be playing into like West Ham's hands. I think we've got to kind of approach both halves, playing it in first 15, setting up, like just kind of seeing where the game's at, seeing how West Ham are approaching it, because I think Yarmolenko, if he's playing, and same with Felipe Anderson, will be vital, because I think down the side United won't allow those two to get on the ball that much, but if they come inside, try and occupy the half spaces, I think it might cause the back three some problems, especially with Haller. I think he's a great player and can certainly hold the ball up, win aerial battles, but it should be a good, interesting battle to see if he can get past John Egan, who's had a fantastic life while starting the Premier League this season. I think, though, we won't go as defensive if we do go in front as we did against Arsenal, but I do think there will be an element of, not quite sure what the right word is, but not chasing the game for the first 45, 60 minutes. I think if the game starts to go on at 0-0, United will look to try and hit West Ham more on the break. I think that's where a goal will come.
Mm-hmm. Callum, I think the one game I remember was the Leicester game for Sheffield United. I think it was Leicester who sort of put in quite a comprehensive win at Bramall Lane earlier in the season. Yeah. What is it from West Ham's point of view that, because I'm quite worried, to be honest. We played Crystal Palace a couple of weeks ago, another team who turned up and they were fantastically organised. They weren't, by any stretch of the imagination, fantastic at football, but they were really organised. They turned up, and every single one of their 11 players on the pitch did their job that night. You could tell that every single player knew what they were supposed to be doing. And I get that feeling with Sheffield United as well. What is it West Ham are going to have to do you think, if we want to break that down?
Well, I think what's been pretty important for West Ham this season is how the fullbacks have been playing. I think with Fredericks and Cresswell, you've got two quite energetic and just up and down in your face fullbacks, and I think they will hold the key as to whether West Ham can get 3 points or a point at the weekend. I think if they press high and stop Ender Stevens and George Baldock from getting high into the West Ham half and just progressing United forward, and they got a good chance of allowing Felipe Anderson and Yarmolenko to get time on the ball, again, inside the half spaces, in the little pockets between the midfield and defence. And with those two, they've got enough quality to win games on their own. So I think that's going to be vital. If they stay back a little bit and allow Bollock and Stevens to push up, there is the space, like in the court, well, around the sides of the pitch for Yarmolenko and Anderson to get into. But I don't think you'll be as successful going that way. I think it's pressing high for West Ham, because United, to be fair, did play well under a high press from Arsenal last night, but they do lack some confidence on the ball at the back.
Well, Callum, just quickly then, I have to put you on the hot seat. What's your score prediction?
All depends on the first goal. I'm gonna say 1-0 United. Got to be confident.
West Ham or Sheffield?
Sheffield United.
Callum, a real pleasure having you on. Cheers. Always a pleasure to talk to you. 1-0 is going there for Sheffield United. Before I ask for your predictions, just want to quickly say on the YouTube, Neil, you've been making lots of YouTube comments and you're always tuning in, so we really appreciate that, Neil, as always, you watching the We Are West Ham fan show on Love Sport Radio. Will, before score prediction, how do you think the game will go on the weekend? Sheffield United riding high, West Ham, they're in this, I don't want to say bit of a rut, but with obviously the Palace game and now the Everton game on the weekend, how do you think the game will play out first?
No, I think it'll be exactly like Palace. I think it'll be a similar game again. I think they'll be well organised. Every player will know what they're doing. Every player turns up and puts in a shift for Wilder every week. And yeah, I think it's really on us. The onus is on us to make sure that we are matching them with endeavour and heart and energy and wanting to be in the game, wanting to play the game, which we weren't at Everton.
Tom?
I think it's going to be a really difficult afternoon. I think we come through that again, and I have some hope, because it's probably one of the last teams we want to, in terms of styles, we want to play. As a team who struggle to score goals, a team who will sit pretty deep, and they're defensively sound. So I think it'll be a tough afternoon, but I think, like you said, an early goal will be big. I think maybe 2-1 us.
2-1, Tom's going, we need it, because I can't do another show if Tom's going to be no hope like this. This has been worrying. I've never seen him this down. This has all been negative. Will, what's your score prediction?
I go 1-1.
1-1?
Yeah,
it's worse than Tom.
No, I only think we'll get a point. I think it'll be the same sort of game again. I think it'll be one of them when you're desperate to win, but I think we'll end up going.
I just said it to be nice.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Well, Callum went for a Sheffield United win. Tom went for the West Ham. Will sitting on the fence 1-1. We've had all the three different outcomes there, but either way, we will be here next Tuesday, 7 o'clock, to discuss the result. Either way, a massive game on the weekend, the rivalry of sorts that Will's mentioned. This has been the West Ham Fan Show with Will Pugh and Tom Edwards. You can catch us next week at 7.
Love Sport. You're in leakage, you're in leakage. You're in leakage, you're in leakage. You're in leakage. You're in leakage, you're in leakage.
Kenna men.
Cage.
Pants and pads.
You're
discreet.